Hello there! Welcome to Tubi Tuesday. I'm Scotty. You're not. Tom Hanks. You know Tom Hanks. He's been in a lot of movies like A Big and Philadelphia, which I haven't seen. Dragnet, I think is a good movie. I was a fan of the TV show back in the day. You don't know. I grew up in the 90s, right? When Nick at Night was at its height. So I would watch Nickelodeon, but also watch the sitcoms on Nick at Night. And they used to play Dragnet. I used to watch Dragnet. And so that movie is actually really good. Both Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks are good in it. And then you have other Tom Hanks movies, Toy Story, Saving Mr. Banks, which is a great film. And this movie, Joe versus the Volcano, which was a movie I watched when I was growing up as a kid. And of course, I was a big Tom Hanks fan because of Big, one of my favorite movies. So, you know, being as I love Tom Hanks, this was a movie I also watched. But I haven't seen it in, I want to say 20 years. Maybe more. Let's see, I'm 36 now. 20 years ago, I was 16. Oh. You feel that? Okay, so more than 20 years. I want to say I was 10, so about 26 years. I was maybe 10 the last time I saw this. Came out in 1990, and I knew nothing about it. I just knew there was one of the movies that's on my list from when I grew up to get, but I never got that. And Turner and Hooch, which is another Tom Hanks film, which I watched with my son last year. That show was coming out. We watched that and the show. Then they canceled the show. Thanks, Disney. And then they did it 2 more times for the Mighty Ducks show, which was actually getting really good. Even though they got rid of Gordon in season 2, Bombay, it was still good. Canceled that. The National Treasure show, I have my doubts, but it was actually pretty good. Canceled that. Why do we invest anything? You're going to cancel stuff after 1 season there, Disney. Well, technically, the Mighty Ducks was 2 seasons, but still, cancel those. We're getting more What If. Anyway, so this movie has always been on my radar. It's something I was actually planning on, because I'm bringing back, or I was planning on, I still don't know what I'm doing next year for February, for birth month. If I'm going to do another theme thing, or if I'm just going to do stuff from my childhood. I had fun with Nickelodeon month, so, but if I did another Nickelodeon month, I would have to do TV shows, which is on my radar to do, but TV shows are harder to do. You have to watch a few episodes instead of just, and do research. Watch a movie, you just talk about the movie. So it's a little easier to do the movie. I could do more Nickelodeon movies, sure. Or I could move on to Cartoon Network month, which could also be TV shows. Or I could do Fox Kids month, which would also be TV shows, but talking about all the TV shows, I don't know. So my biggest option is to go back to just doing stuff that are connected to my childhood. Although I am due to re-review the Ninja Turtle movies. Do revisit the reviews for those. And the Batman movies, but I'm trying to save the Batman movies in their own things. By the time next year comes around, it'll be 5 years since I did those. And that'll be a good time to just sort of revisit them. Because that was within my first year. I did the Batman vs. TMNT series, and it really just... But let's talk about Joe vs. the Volcano, a movie I hadn't seen in about 26 years, I want to say. As I mentioned before, my grandma had a bunch of VHSs. She recorded movies off of HBO. And this is one of the movies. She had this, Beverly Hills Cop, Big, Ninja Turtles for me, Child's Play, bunch of stuff. Dirty Harry, which I never watched. Top Gun, which I never watched growing up. But this was one of them I gravitated towards for some reason. Even after watching this movie, what as a kid drew me to this movie? As an adult, I can tell you what draws me to this movie. But as a kid, I don't know what as a kid would have drawn me to this movie. Another movie I haven't seen in a very, very long time that I want to watch again is Jumpin' Jack Flash, Whoopi Goldberg. It's like a computer tech person. I remember barely anything about that one, but I can't find it streaming anywhere, and it's kind of expensive to buy the DVD off eBay. Cheapest I found it is for like $12, and like the day before I was gonna get it, someone bought it. Or no, it was an hour. It was like I was going to cash my check, and I decided I'm gonna wait back for cashing check before I got to where I was getting the eBay card. I checked it, and it was someone bought it. I'm like, ugh. And it had been there in the morning before, but I checked it again. So somebody bought it between then, and yeah. But Joe vs. the Volcano, which we're going to talk about now, stars Tom Hanks as Joe Banks. Tom Hanks, Joe Banks. Really creative with names, aren't they? He's a man who is a hypochondriac, believes there's something wrong with him, and then he goes to see a doctor, Dr. Ellison, played by Robert Stack. Yes, Mr. Unsolved Mysteries guy. Tells him he has a brain cloud, which I'm sitting there going, okay, that's bullshit. But movies make up stuff. Anyway, you have a brain cloud, it's something here, and you're going to die. Why couldn't you just tell me you had a tumor? Isn't that technically what a brain cloud would be, is a tumor? Just tell me he had a tumor. But he says brain cloud because it plays into the end of the movie. He has a brain cloud. He believes him, and so he quits his job, and he's trying to have a better outlook on life. Then this one man comes to see him. He's played by, I don't remember the actor actually. He comes to see him, and he says, there's this tribe on this island, the Whoopi tribe or something like that. And every 100 years, they gotta throw someone in this volcano to appease their god, the Big Woo, which is the volcano. None of the people on the island wanted to do it, unsurprisingly. So, being as Dr. Ellison told him that, that Joe is dying, he's like, hey, could you do this? If you do this, I'll get some resources from these people, and yeah, so he sends his daughters to help him. First, Angelica. Okay, so Meg Ryan plays 3 different roles. She plays Dee Dee, the secretary at the place that he works, and they have a little tryst, but then when she finds out that he's dying, she can't handle it and runs off. And so then she comes back as Angelica, the oldest daughter of this guy, and she's like the material girl type character, and then she passes him off to her other sister, the younger sister, Patricia, also Meg Ryan. So yeah, 3 different Meg Ryans, and they don't go out without mentioning. He's like, I felt like I've seen you before. It was the first time I met you. I felt like I'd seen you before, or something like that. So yeah, when it comes to the romantic comedy side of this, I feel like the relationship here is really forced. It really comes out of nowhere. They meet each other. They're on this boat. The boat capsizes because of a storm, and they're saved by his luggage that he bought. And because he saves her life, she starts to get more attracted to him. But there's really nothing that hints at it. He saves her, and then she technically saves him because he passes out from the sunburn, which miraculously goes away once they shower him and everything. They get to the island, and then she's about jumping into the volcano. She's like, don't do it, I love you. And she's like, I love you too, but it's bad timing. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. You guys aren't, it's already questionable enough in romantic comedies that you meet each other for a short amount of time and fall in love. Take City Slickers, not Mitch, the other guy, Phil. Phil met that one lady in the first one, and they fell in love. And by the second one, they're not together anymore. So, yeah, it's not gonna work. But this is unusually forced. This is really forced. And then she decides she's gonna jump into the volcano with him. I don't think Daddy's gonna be too happy, but whatever. And they get married. They tell Big Chief Abe Vigoda that. I don't know. There's also Witch Doctor Nathan Lane too. I don't know what's going on with cameos in this movie, but he's like, first of all, he's like, "Yo, are you Joe?" He's like, "You speak English?" "Yeah, I learned how." He's speaking perfect English. There's not even like a broken dialect or even an accent. He's just speaking perfect English. But she's like, "Okay, if you're gonna jump in, I'm gonna jump in too." I'm like, okay. And I didn't remember how this movie ended. Like, did they just jump in and die? Nope. They jump in and they're blown out with some very bad effects. It's probably the only bad effects in the movie. It is not really a lot of effects, but they jump in and it looks very terrible as they jump in, and they get blown back out into the ocean, and they're still alive. The whole island sinks. They say it's a miracle. I'm thinking it's because, if you think in real, it took too long. They took too long to jump in, and that's what happened. Or the big woo is like, no, you are not Whoopie Whoopie tribe. You don't count. Maybe it has to be someone from the Whoopie Whoopie tribe. I mean, Wapoopi tribe, something like that. It has to be someone from the tribe, and that's why it didn't work. It spat them out, and then the whole place sunk, and they're saved by the luggage. Yeah, the luggage again. And then we find out that obviously, the whole brain cloud thing was bullshit, because he mentions Dr. Ellis, and she's like, "That's my father's doctor. He doesn't see anyone else. He owns Dr. Ellison. Like, we'll have a brain cloud." Brain cloud? You believe that? He's fine. And like, "Hey, you're gonna live." And I'm just like, "Well, you're stranded in the middle of nowhere." He goes, "Wherever we go, we're taking this luggage." Well, obviously, yes. And then the movie ends. They lived happily ever after. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They died. They got stuck at sea. Sunburn got them. The sun burned down on them, and then they died. Picked apart by pelicans after being roasted and toasted by the sun. That's what happens. That's what happened. I don't know. I don't see a happy ever after unless they're floating and a ship sees them and takes them on. Whatever. I would have loved to see sequels to this. Where like, this is Joe versus the volcano. So you have Joe versus the tornado. Joe versus the monsoon, which technically already happened. Joe versus King Kong or something like that. You know, just you could do unlimited sequels with Joe versus anything. You know, even if they're not well received, that you could do direct-to-video. 90s was the boom of the direct-to-video market. You could put some direct-to-video stuff with Tom Hanks playing Joe versus you. With direct-to-video, you might need to recast Tom Hanks with someone like, say, Tom Everett Scott. They look similar enough. Have Tom Everett Scott play Joe in the sequels. You could do like 3 direct-to-video sequels with Tom Everett Scott and a blonde of your choosing playing these characters and just sort of continuing the story. It would be interesting. This movie was also kind of interesting. I like the opening of this movie. Like I said, as an adult, I can connect with this movie. This movie it starts with a cover of 16 Tons. You know, 16 tons. What do you get? Another year older and deeper in debt. As a hard-working man myself, I understand that. You go to work every day, do the same dirty job. Me, it's cleaning toilets, mopping floors, and all that stuff. You get barely any recognition. You know what I mean? But you do your job, and that's what he is. You do your job. And as soon as he finds out he's going to die, when nothing else matters, what's the first thing he does? He quits his job. Although my accommodations are better than whatever this job was. Coffee looks terrible. Whatever they're putting in the coffee looks terrible. It says it tastes like arsenic. And it's always one of those things when someone says, "Oh, it tastes like this." And like, "Well, it tastes like shit." Well, how do you know what that tastes like? Well, it tastes like arsenic. How do you know what that tastes like? It tastes like dirt. Dirt is the only thing we see it tastes like dirt. Because you can get dirt kicked in your face. But you're not going to taste arsenic. You die. You're not going to eat shit. They don't know what it tastes like. You know, it's an every word. Where shit means it tastes terrible. Tastes like shit. Tastes terrible. But she used that verbiage because it emphasizes it more. You say, "Oh, this tastes terrible." Like, "Yeah, pretty bad." You're like, "Oh, it tastes like shit." "Oh, hell yeah." You know, kind of thing. It's more oomph. You know what I mean? I think Tom Hanks does a pretty good job. And Meg Ryan in all three of her parts, she does okay. She comes off a little bit of, aw shucks type character, at least for two of them. The other one, she's trying to play this hoity-toity, stuck-up princess role, but I don't know, she does okay, I guess. Having the cameos like Abe Vigoda, Dan Hedaya, Robert Stack, and even Nathan Lane has a cameo in this is fun. I don't know if they're directly referencing it, but there's a scene where Joe is being taken around places by this driver. The driver looks a little bit like and talks a little bit like Morgan Freeman in Driving Miss Daisy. I don't know if they're trying to reference that or not, but that's the vibe I got. I've never seen that movie, but I know that he's the yes, ma'am, the whole thing. And I'm just a driver. I'm just a driver. I drive you places. It's what he kind of sounds like Morgan Freeman. So I don't know if that's what they're trying to reference or kind of put out there, or if I'm pretty sure that was like the 80s that came out in, right? Maybe the 70s. Gotta be the 80s. Morgan Freeman had been. I don't know. But yeah, he goes on a shopping spree. That's another thing. He's gonna come back, spending all those credit cards. Like, if he does make it back, Daddy's gonna be pissed. Daddy's not getting his stuff after the island exploded, or sunk, excuse me. And his daughter married this guy, and he doesn't get him what he was looking for. The credit cards he gave him are gonna be all maxed out now. He's gonna be pissed. That's why I wanted to see a sequel. I wanted to see where it would go. If they're picked up, if they survived, what the repercussions were. Because he's, Joe's going to go back. He's going to be married, but is the relationship going to survive? They barely know each other, right? He has no job. What's he going to do? The logical thing is that Dad's like, you cost me money, you work for me now. And he has to work for her father. And, I don't know, Joe versus bankruptcy. Joe versus the father-in-law. That could have been the name. Joe versus the father-in-law. You couldn't call it Joe versus the Volcano 2, because there's no volcano. Joe versus the father-in-law, something like that. Joe versus the world. Could be something too. But, yeah, I had fun with this. I'm going to give it a... Screw it. I'll give it a pretty good. Honestly, I think I'm going to actually buy this now. Just because... one of those I was hesitant about, because my biggest concern was, I liked it when I was a kid. But I could buy this and be like, oh, no, didn't age well. Having watched it on Tubi, of course, because of Tubi. Yeah, I think I'll buy it. I think I'll buy it. Turn on Hoots too. So what are your thoughts on Joe versus the Volcano? Make sure to like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.